I mean, I don't even have to be meditating or anything, but the fact that I have this silence to like hear like my inner self and like really zone in, it it helps me better understand like the outside world even, you know. And then that vibration, like I feel like that I'm tapping into, then it's like it attracts those people with those frequencies towards me. And I, when it happens, I think that it's crazy, but it's like, oh shit, I think I did that. Like, I think that I drew you to me, because for me it's like I know I've been kind of yearning to have like whatever kind of relationship it is, whether it be a friendship, spiritual connection, whatever, to have a relationship where we could almost communicate telepathically. You know, I do literally yearn for something like that, because in times of like where my emotions are either, you know, heightened to a point where I'm trying to come down, or so down that I'm trying to come up, like it'd be amazing to have somebody to just like sense that, you know.
Mm-hmm. I know perfectly.
Like
That's why I'm creating the retreat for empaths, and that's why you're coming. For questions, comments, and to show your support, visit us on the web at afroempath.com. That's one too.
hello,
Hey, Pieces, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. So how long you listen to the show for?
Oh man, since like last, maybe October, November ish. Yeah. It was crazy how I ran up on it because I kept dealing with like this the intense emotion, right? And this is something that I know that I've been dealing with all my life, but it was just like I was fed up with it. And it was like I need to know what's going on. And so like when I ran across empaths, I was like, oh my gosh,
Well,
this.
what do you mean? What do you mean empaths? Like, come on, did you search it? You didn't learn the term from this show. I'm assuming you learned it somewhere else, right?
I did. I
Okay,
did.
yeah.
It was like it was like one of those Google searches where you didn't know what word to put in, so you put on a whole phrase like really sensitive people. You know what I mean? And all of these like words come up, and so I'm like just sorting through them kind of, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this resonates with me. I've never been able to put that into words, so it's like it just stuck. So from there, I had already been listening to podcasts just to like, you know, like broaden my horizon towards like anything else that I really wanted to learn. And I seen how well it had been sticking to me, the information. And so I was like, let me see if they have podcasts on empaths. And I'm just I'm just pro black. So of course Afro black went into there automatically.
Word.
and that yep, and that's how I got connected to the show, and I have literally been hooked ever since.
Okay, well, what was your first episode you listened to?
Oh, um I want to say it was the one about narcissists. Um it was early in 2018, I believe.
Okay,
Um
it was like adult children, racial codependency, and something like that.
Yes, yes. Because I seen the title and I was like, "What? This is real?" Like people are actually. So I gotta listen. So and I'm listening and everything stopped. I don't know what the heck I was doing, but it. I knew that it needed my like immediate attention. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And because everything that was coming out, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm making all of these connections that I never have been able to connect, because I've literally never been around anybody that has experienced emotions the way that I feel. So I've always smothered them for a long time. um so it was just really
What do you mean by smother? What do you mean by
lit.
smother them? What do you mean by that?
Um, so my family is very what's the word, like automated, they don't really move off of emotion. They just move off of what they know, what they've seen. And I know that I've been able to um, have compassion and relate to people and be empathetic with people automatically. And by me doing that, especially with being so close to my family, it was like I was always like absorbing everybody else's shit, and I didn't know why. Like I would legit have, like, now looking back, I know that they were panic attacks, but panic attacks when I was little, not like I'll just be crying out of nowhere, like, and everybody would just tell me like I'm just too sensitive. Like that's literally that, and I kind of like even now just I I don't want to say hate because I don't like using the word hate, but I just really despise that term now because I've been told that so much in my life that I thought it was an issue within me. So it's like, well, I literally haven't met anybody like me. So like I started questioning myself for real, and it was like it's been like that literally almost all of my life because I've never been in any situation or around people that I have been able to resonate with in that capacity.
How old are you, sister, and where are you from? Like, where were you born?
I was born in Chicago and I'm 30 years old.
Gotcha.
Yep, just turned 30 this year. Um, I didn't even know. I went after all this time listening to the show. I didn't. I know what made me reach out, but I didn't. I think that I didn't think that I was going to reach out. So like as I'm sitting, as I'm sending in the message, and then I press send, I'm like, dang, I just press send, and then you respond, dang, you're just responding. So I'm like, okay, I don't even know what I want to talk about.
It's okay. It's all
I
good.
just
Let me ask you this: what is it? What is it? Would you listen? Do you listen to that episode to tame a unicorn? Is that what kind of did it for you, or what made you reach
yeah.
out? So tell me about
Um,
that. What was it about that?
that was, you know what? That was one of them. I'll say I think that was maybe the last one that I had listened to before I messaged you. But the one that was really sticking out to me in particular that week was the podcast that you had with what's her name? Hold on, I wrote it down. Uh, Chantel. Oh my gosh.
Which one? I have several with her. The Black INFP values, or when demons attack our children, or shifts and
Oh,
entanglement.
look, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I went through, after listening to the INF that podcast. I listened to that one first, and I kind of like found all the ones that you guys had the conversation in because the words. Okay, I don't like one. I'm trying to cut out crazy, weird. I can't believe like all of these phrases I really am doing my best to cut out of my vocabulary
Mm-hmm.
because I know that it's not crazy. Like these are things that are destined to happen, but like I in those moments of hearing her talk and resonating with it to a point where it seems out of this world, it's sometimes hard for me to grasp, maybe because that's like I guess my human side thinking that, but it's like there's no other way that I stumble upon a podcast like this and then can resonate with these people so well, people that I don't even know, but I'm just like, oh, family. you know
Mm-hmm.
um
So what was it?
but
What was it about? What was it about? What was she said that you liked though? Like, give me an idea. You know, like help me out
um
because you gotta understand.
her
Like, I don't talk to people. Like, I don't talk to many people. Period. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is like the only feedback I
yeah, yeah.
get. You know what I'm saying? So like, I like to know this as a person that does it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was like one, just her presence. It was crazy. I was starting my day at work and listening to that podcast. I felt like I was almost floating listening to her. She spoke about, her life and her children and um, things that she's been through, how the gifts that she has been given, I relate to in a sense, not fully, but I know that I have a lot of like untapped things that one, I may not be aware of, and I'm not, um, I know spiritually, like there's a lot of things just moving for me, very rapidly. Um, but the the thought of her saying like our basically our purpose here was to help others, right? And I've said that so many times in my life where I know what it means to me, because what at this point in my life I feel like that's literally my only mission. Now if I was to say that to my mom, it's like, well, what about your kids? And like that entangles my kids. Like
Mhm.
if I'm not on the pursuit to help people in this world to heal, like what am I doing? I really feel like my life is that's not a purposeful life. That's like why would I be put here to not be helping? That just logically doesn't has never made sense to me. But I haven't been able to, I guess, really take that path, uh, because before I was allowing like my family and my loved ones' opinions like dictate how I was moving because of judgment or whatever the case may be. And I just got sick of it, honestly. I was in a relationship with a guy that basically triggered some stuff in me that opened my eyes back up to wanting to know about my heritage and more about the universe and my spirituality. And at that point, like I started to, have to cut a lot of my family out of my life, and it was very hard. Like I didn't think that it was going to be as hard as it was, like because I got the feedback that I got from my family was basically, since I stayed away, I didn't love them, and nobody could understand that I was literally trying to protect my energy, because it's always gossip, drama, negative, and I have not yet learned the technique of releasing people's energy, so it was just like an emotional overload every time.
Have you been meditating, or do you meditate?
Just recently I started meditating again. So like for the last month, I meditate about 2 or 3 times a day. I get up in the morning when I'm getting ready for work, and I kind of set a whole mood. Like I dance, and I feel like I naturally go off of like vibes that I intentionally set. So when I get up in the morning, it's like, all right, Palo Santo, check, music, check. And while I'm getting dressed, I just really try to focus on everything that I'm grateful for. As I'm even like in the mirror, because I've dealt with a lot of insecurities with my, like just looking at myself. Um, and not because that I felt like I was just this horrible, ugly person, but um, for a while it was just hard to recognize myself, because I don't, like, I look at my face and I look at my body, and it's mine and I'm in it, but it's, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it's not, I know that it's not me. So it was never like sitting well with me all the way. But I was like, well, this is the body that I've been given, so I'm going to learn to be grateful for it. So that's one of the things that I do in the morning while I'm in the mirror, getting ready for work, and then I'll pray at my altar and also meditate there.
What's your foundation in terms of spirituality? Like, what is how's that like where'd you come from in terms of your family upbringing, and where are you now?
So my family Baptist kind of transitioned into Christian once we moved into like the suburban places that we lived. But for me, it's crazy because I have always been like heavily involved in church. And because I know of the spiritual aspect, even when I was like really young, like I wanted to go to the church groups and I wanted to learn. But the only thing with that is people don't want to answer your questions.
Give me an example.
So it's like, um, let me think of something specific because there's certain things in the Bible, that is very contradicting.
Hmm.
And so, in my mind, it was like, wait, I don't understand what you just said. Can you explain X, Y, Z? And
Hmm.
it was like, God said this, and it's in the Bible. We're moving on, and it's that does nothing for a child
Correct. Yeah. Or an adult.
or an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it was like still growing up in the church, I was still heavily involved. But the more and more that happened, it drew me away because I knew that there was no way that a religion or spiritual practice would ever deny, me wanting answers to the questions that I had.
Hmm.
So, again, like religion was even really hard for me to break out of because then my family really thought I was crazy. They like at one point it was like you got that boy controlling you and turning you to an atheist, and it's all kinds of stuff, and I still to this day will never like talk about religion with my family. I just literally strictly keep it on a spiritual level because to them, the Bible is still spiritual, which it is. But that's the thing that they don't understand. Like just because I'm talking about my spiritual journey and I meditate and all of these things that you feel is um, I guess devil's work or whatever they call it.
Hmm.
It's like, is this not the same goal of the religion you claim to believe in? So what I didn't, it's still, it's not, it doesn't make sense to me sometimes why they can't get in tune with it, but I don't try to make them understand anymore. Like I said, I just go about it strictly spiritually because then it's like a common ground type deal. But as far as me, like religious wise, I don't have like a set religion that I believe in. Because I've studied a few different religions, and like I said, everything we all of them have the same basis. And literally, for me, the main thing that sticks out is love because that's something that I've been able to give unconditionally, selfishly, unwanted. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like something that even if I wanted to control, I know that I have no control over because God has a bigger purpose for that.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, because I mean, I obviously have probably, I'm assuming, pretty distinct views. You're going to say, like, I wonder, from someone coming to listen to my podcast, like, did you get any idea of where I'm at spiritually and what my philosophy is? Or I know I've laid it out pretty well in the podcast, but I wonder, have you listened to any of those by any chance, or what did you think about those when you did listen to them?
Um, you know what? I've never heard you specifically say what like if you actually practice a certain religion or not. Like when I hear you speak on, your spiritual aspect, is more in a sense that you're talking about your soul and how we're all one.
Mhm.
I've never heard you speak on like I'm a Baptist
No,
or
no, I don't. I'm not,
Christian.
yeah, no, I don't. I don't. I don't. I'm not from any denomination. I never really went to church.
Oh, okay.
But like, let me ask you this. I would say like if there's like a couple foundational episodes, I would say like, one would be the body of Christ, Ascension, the role of empaths. I'm not sure if you listened to that one by chance. I mean,
Let me.
I'm
I
asking you
let,
these. It's like you had to look at the title and say like I apologize.
no, 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 no. You're good.
Okay.
So the so I'm looking at them now. So very first one that I listened to was When Two Empaths Meet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then, like I said, the narcissism adult
Yeah.
children. Um, and then codependent empath saviors and victim energy vampires.
What'd you think about that one?
Oh my god! Because yo, like, and this is probably one of my favorite episodes because it was like I knew I wasn't crazy. Like I legit have still to this day draw so many, me not knowing, because I'm just like, oh, you need help, come on, let me help you. And this is somebody that's toxic as ever, just seeing my light, trying to suck it dry. You know what I mean? And it's like I feel like listening to these has literally given me tools to combat these things because I'm now aware of
All
them.
right, that's the point. All right, that's good to know. See, I'm glad I asked you because now I know. Hey, Lewis, the shit you're doing is helping people. Thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah, like amazingly, like you have no, like mind blowing. And I'm like, every time, like I legit, every time I'm done listening to a podcast, like it's so overwhelming, like not bad, but overwhelming, like to a point where like I feel like I'm gonna burst, where I literally have to stop because I'll go on and just listen to podcast after podcast, every episode, and I just feel all this overwhelming sensation. But I'll stop and I'll kind of just take it all in because I'm grateful. I'm so freaking uh, you. I'm so grateful. I don't even know any other words
Thanks.
because
I'm happy to hear it. I'm glad that it's doing good. That makes me feel great. Thank you.
it's like I I was with someone for 8 years, um, who was not allowing me to be that person. Although I knew my family was holding me back doing that all of my life. Um, with him, I didn't realize it. Maybe because we were in a relationship. I could think of a number of things why, but staying in the relationship, it really really smothered. I want to say my empath side, because to him it doesn't make sense at all, so it's not right because he literally doesn't process the way that I process. And so I like, now that we're not together, I realize that we're definitely on different frequencies, and that's okay. And it's like, I'm not judging you, but me trying to be with you was literally holding me back from my spiritual path, because we've been split up a year, and this past year, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's been a fucking year, is what is what it has been. Like, I, I've never I've never been had so many spiritual lessons like back to back to back to back. Like, and again, going back and listening to your podcast, I know it's for a reason. Like, everybody is literally feeling this shift, right? So I'm like, okay, I just gotta roll with it. What lesson am I learning this time? you know, it's oh wow. I'm so glad I got a chance to talk to you. Oh, wow.
Okay, tell me more. What's the next one you listen to? I want to know it all. If that was just if that was just one that came from one episode, I want to know it all. Please, this is like a review right here.
um, okay. So I went back like after we discussed talking to each other. I'm like, I want to kind of go back to like some of the beginning shows that you were post. You know what? I wanted to ask you. So going back to all the beginning, like, because I have it on Spotify. Did you start in February of 2018, or do you have episodes before that?
There might have been like a couple. There's not many, like maybe like three or four, but they're all on YouTube. And then I
Oh, okay.
put those YouTube episodes in the podcast later on. You were to say I kind of sprinkled them in there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I get it.
yeah,
I got you.
but I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, because I was just saying, because I remember when I first started listening to you, and I wasn't in the same place that you were in at the time. Like I literally was just like beginning to like unfold a lot of stuff in my life, but it was like I could tell that maybe like not even fear, but maybe a little anxiety, like from you not not thinking that um like you were capable of like doing this work, even though you were clear, like still even in that time just spot on. But I think it was like maybe even like not the tone of your voice, but something that I was like reading. And so it was like I wanted to go back and kind of listen to you, because listening to you now, you have um like the security,
Yeah, a sense of surety.
right?
Yeah, a sense of surety. Yeah, what it
Yeah.
is just like okay. Put it this way. Think of the way you felt after listening to the of one podcast, right? And you're like,
Okay, okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it.
now,
I get it.
think,
Look,
now
okay.
think of me having to channel all this energy of what I have to fucking all the things I have to fucking teach people. You know what I'm saying? I'm setting a foundation for the spiritual evolution of a nation. You know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Oh,
And the
wow.
weight of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on my chest. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
And
yes.
you know what I'm trying to
I
say?
felt
And
that, and
the
it was like, oh my gosh, you got it. Like I'm a fly on the wall. Like you got it. Just do it.
yeah, it completely rattled my nervous system. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
Completely rattled my nervous system. You know what I'm saying? Because my soul is having to express itself and work through all the fear and anxiety of the trauma that I've been through. You know what I'm trying to say? And then
Yeah.
and then process this fear and anxiety and the trauma of those who I interview and those who I have as co-hosts and things like that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think you got to that place?
Boy, I like honestly, like I gotta give my own horn. Listen, I'm really, really, really good at meditation. Like I take this shit seriously. Like I meditate for a
Yeah.
long periods of time. I'm very good at it. Like I'm very, very proficient at meditation and
How
transmutation
long
and
do you
alchemy. Go ahead.
alchemy? Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. I'm itching. I'm itching, but I know I'm like steps, Tatiana, steps.
Yo, I mean, I
Um,
offer life coaching. I know I used to kind of promote life coaching, and for some reason I don't like promoting myself very well. I like promoting myself this way more than just like I feel like if I put it at the end of the podcast, I feel like almost like I don't know, it doesn't seem sincere. So, but I mean, I'll
yeah, I
put it
know.
this way: if people are meant to take me as a teacher, then they'll find me. I'm gonna say I feel that way. I'm gonna say,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
I understand fully.
yeah,
I understand fully what you're saying. It's fucking like it's not nuts, but it just makes me feel so good to know that I'm not like I'm not alone.
hmm
Cause I just started dance classes where I live. Right now I'm in Rockford, Illinois. It's like an hour or so from Chicago. Um, and there's a lot of black people here, and they're just literally like living, and
they're what?
it like just living. Like
Okay, you mean
there's
so like surviving, or just kind of like you mean?
yeah, yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like you get into environments and you see the out the potential, the pain, and you want to transmute that into something different. And I've been wanting to start my dance classes for a while. I even half-ass promoted it last year, but the thing with me was it was really hard for me to put a price on it, and I didn't know why. So I just, kind of stepped back, and I just wanted to like let it resonate with me. And this is before I split with my kid's father of 8 years. And once I split with him, though, I really dove in to take the time to get back to myself, and still doing it like constantly. But it through going through the stuff that I went through with him, because it was so painful, it had me basically feeling like rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. So what are you gonna do about it, basically? Um, and the healing process allowed me to see like how I wanted to maneuver in my classes. And so basically, um, it's not a dance class one, because for me, I was never like professionally trained. These are moves and things that literally come from my spirit. And I wanted other people to experience that because it's very freeing. Even if you were doing it for like 5 minutes, it brings you to a place, like, because one, like just imagine being in your room, in your house, right, and cutting on some music, and it's like, okay, go dance. Like, are you gonna dance full out, or are you kind of gonna be like a little timid about it and then kind of like rock your way into it? Like, I found myself at home being timid about it. And it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, nobody is watching you. And even if somebody was watching you, who cares? You're holding back a part of yourself. And when I let it go and just let myself be, it was just the greatest release ever. And so I literally vowed to myself to make that like a main theme of my classes. And so I decided to call my classes movement therapy, because that made perfect sense to me. It's not dance. It's not a class. This is literally movement therapy for me. So when a class starts, we go through sort of an icebreaker, because I noticed that a lot of a lot of females, in particular Black females, they have insecurities that don't allow them to just want the best for other people. It's always like out of like jealousy that they're looking at them, or silent competition, or it's something. And so
Stems
with
from a
the
lack of love of self.
yes,
Yep.
yes. And so with the icebreaker, I'll have a question that I ask. So like one of the questions that I asked was, what name one fear that you have, whether it be related to dance, or just everyday life. And nobody put their names on it. We all put it inside of a box. And so, like, at this time in the beginning, we're all in a circle, um, and everybody picks a different um, paper. So when we go around and we reread them aloud, like, there were so many similarities and so many people that already broke down a barrier for a lot of people. We didn't have, you know what I mean? We didn't have to discuss like who wrote what, or like that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to let down your guard a little bit and to know that everybody in this room with you, we're all connected and we all go through shit. Like we all suffer in some kind of capacity, and we all want the same thing. We want to be happy, right? So after that, we do like a slight meditation because I've kind of like timed it out. So we do like a 10-minute meditation. I like some Palo Santo, and I'm just a big fan of Palo Santo. I use
Yeah,
sage
well,
every now
I've
and
never
then,
I've
but
never used it before. I was like, I keep hearing about it. Like, yeah. What does it do? But the different, like, I know sage is for clearing, but what does Palo Santo do? I'm kind of an incense guy. I've been doing a lot of Japanese incense. So what does that do differently?
okay, so I feel that it does the same thing, honestly, but with Palo Santo, for me, I just think that I connect more with it, and just the aroma of it, it it sets a very calming mood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's I believe that it's even the scent that actually does that because it's a very different scent than sage is. I feel like sage is
Sage is harsh. It's
um
not. It's not. It's not.
yeah,
You don't light sage in the
yeah.
background. You light sage. Well, you do it a couple of times just to clear a home or something like that. But you don't, or your aura. But you don't.
Yes.
That's not like it's not like incense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is Palo Santo incense or is it more like sage for clearing areas and
It's
auras?
it's more like sage.
Okay.
It's more like
So
sage. Yeah.
I wouldn't be like right now. I have some incense burning as we're speaking, but you wouldn't be speaking in a house with Palo Santo burning, would you?
Oh yeah. You know what? So this is for Palo Santo, and I don't know because I don't really use sage, like I said, but with Palo Santo, like, so I light it. Make sure that I have like my windows open so that the negative energy that is in there can like make its way out.
Okay.
But I
You just
go
answered the
around
question
my
though.
house.
You answered the question. It's not like incense. It's not like
Oh
incense.
no
It's
no no
yeah.
no
Okay. Oh, got
no
it.
no
Okay.
no no
Got
no
it.
no. Yeah, yeah, but it does like okay. So the flame even. So for me, when you light it, because it is like wood,
Mm-hmm.
when you light it, if it starts to burn out, that I feel like that's the time that the energy is clearing itself. Because if that wood stays lit for more than 2 minutes, it's like, oh shit, you got some shit going on up in here. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like burns profusely like throughout
Hmm.
the house, and I just let it be, but it's that's something that I've definitely connected with over sage. Sage, like you said, is really harsh, and I'm not just like sensitive to like my emotions. Like I've realized like that, like my body is even sensitive. Like I can feel the tiniest things on me. Like I can't like walk across my floor. I don't care if I just swept it like without socks. Like my to the touch, my skin is just literally that sensitive.
Yeah. Same here.
And it's crazy. Like I'm like, what? Like why am I feeling like my hair move? Like one piece of hair. Like what? On my arm, like
Hmm.
whatever it may be. Like oh geez, and I have really had to come to terms with all of this and really like start to become aware of everything that is happening to me because these are signals. I feel like now.
Yeah. I got to ask you as you say this, like, you listen to Chantel's interview. I mean, obviously she talked about some of her gifts, like her spiritual gifts. Like
Hmm.
I mean, not just her. I mean, there's plenty of podcasts of different people talk about their spiritual gifts. I wonder, like, are you coming into some spiritual gifts of your own, or have you realized some spiritual gifts of your own? Like, give me an example of where you're at in that.
Um, I literally have not outwardly spoken about like
Yeah,
anything.
that's the point. That's the point. This is your coming out party. So go ahead and open your mouth and let's hear it.
Okay, so I think that I can like read people's energy. Like okay, so prime example. just before I got on the phone with you, my my cousin last week was no, I take that back. 2 weeks ago, she was involved in a shooting. She was shot in the head. Um, she has 4 kids, and she survived. She's in the hospital, and she's had a couple surgeries, and today she's up and she's talking. And so they call me because I'm with the kids at out of and this is so random that I'm even with all of them. I know it's not random, but still, it's like what are the odds? Okay, I know the odds. Blah blah blah. Anyways, um, so she calls me and she's like, "Yeah, get the kids all together. I want to talk to them." And mind you, they haven't seen her. They know that something is like wrong. They know that she's in the hospital, but no one wanted them to see her in that capacity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, even though I'm worried about their emotions, I'm like worried about my emotions, not even because I'm sad, in my own right, but I know once I see or even start feeling all of their energy, it's like it was almost over for there. So I'm like over from there. So I'm like preparing myself. I'm like legit bracing myself, like almost like get into this meditation mode. I have to sit there and I got my eyes closed because I feel something coming on. And her oldest, um, they had to talk to him because the situation is, if she's seeing somebody in tears and just disbelief, it sends her into a spiral and then it actually affects her health. So they didn't want her to see any of the kids crying, and he couldn't even get on the phone with her. And he never cries. He's never in that vulnerable state. And I think I was afraid that I wouldn't have the words, or I wouldn't know what to say, or whatever. Like, I'm worried about all of this stuff, but at the same time I'm trying to hurry up and clear it out because it's like somebody needs to be a reinforcement so he doesn't lose his shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So as he's losing his shit though, I'm like, let's go to the back 'cause I didn't want her to see him, and I could see the pain and I can sense it, and I'm able to um like look at my own experiences and put them towards other people's, like, I don't know, like connect them somehow, like, okay, you're feeling this, so in order to combat this, what, like, energetically or whatever, like, what can I do for you in this moment? And I knew that it wasn't words because I've been in a situation with my dad and him passing away, out of nowhere, and feeling that pain in your chest. Somebody coming up to you and telling you it's gonna be all right is not helpful. It's just not. And I think that, like, the whole time I just wish somebody would come and kind of like just put their energy into me. And so that's what I did. So I'm sitting in the room with him, and I was like, just like, and my family is not real affectionate either. So I'm telling him to come here, and I'm just holding him, and it's like, now, because I kind of am trying to put it into practice, like I try to intentionally like imagine myself like giving them the energy that they need. So it's like, and I want to like almost like, um kind of like, when I say it out loud it sounds weird, but like feel over there like body to see where I can connect to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, it's definitely not through clothes. So I have to kind of have like skin to skin contact. But really, in this instance, it was his head. So I'm talking, I'm sitting there and I'm holding him, just letting him know that everything was going to be okay. But I know that words aren't enough. So as I'm saying that though, I feel all of that coming out. Like I think that I'm able to do that unconsciously to project something that I'm feeling outwardly without knowing it. And so now that I'm aware of that, though, I've been trying to just put it into practice when I can. And this was one of those times. And so when I did, um, he started to calm down. It was like he could breathe. And so when he started breathing, even like words just came to me, and it was like, what am like? I didn't know what I was saying. I know that I wasn't talking. No, for a fact that wasn't coming from me because I didn't even know what I was going to say to him. But
What'd you say?
God allowed God allowed me to do that. So I think I basically told him that I know my words are never gonna do any justice to heal your heart from the pain that you're feeling. But I want you to know that of all the things that you're going through, the the suffering, the pain that you see every day around you, and the pain that you see your mom in is temporary. I said, I know that I am not God, but I know for a fact that when this happened and I knew that your mom survived, there wasn't a question in my mind. Not even now, there wasn't a doubt in my mind to know that she was going to be okay because she's here for a reason. You're here for a reason. Everybody on this earth will experience suffering. It's all about the lessons that we get from it. And um, I just couldn't even believe I was having a conversation with him because he's just not like he's not even that, you know, the type of boy that's like,
Oh, that this was the boy of the whose mother had been shot.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, her oldest.
Gotcha.
So he was taking it really hard because they've already kind of been, separated from her before, and so their 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 attachment to their mom also is just like, well, no, everybody's telling us, that she's not feeling good, but we don't really know what's going on. So they're in this like limbo, you know. But I just wanted to reassure him with words and reassure him with like the love that I just wanted to give to him in that moment. And now he's outside playing.
That's good. I heard them earlier.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, speaking to you, you have a rather comforting aura. I'll say that about you. Let me ask you
I
this:
appreciate
yeah,
that.
do you know your life path number, or do you know that by any chance, your life path number?
I don't.
You don't?
What is that? Is that numerology
Yeah,
or
numerology.
or
Yeah,
is that not the same thing?
yeah, the same thing. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I've done it,
I
but I
can
don't
find out for you
remember it.
if you can tell me the time, not the time, but just your birthday. I can tell you.
April 3rd. You
Okay.
need the year too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
1989.
April 3rd, 1989. Okay. Okay, you're life path number 9. It says.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm tripping. Hold on. You're not a 9. It says you're a 7.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
What is that?
Yeah. Okay, so make sure. No, yeah, you're a 7. Woo, shit. Okay, girl. Word. You're a 7.
Wait, tell me.
That's phenomenal. I'm maybe biased, I'm just saying, but I personally, in it, I mean, I'm sure many people think it's basically one of the most spiritual. It's basically like one of the most spiritual life paths. I'm gonna say I'm a life path number 7.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
it says your life path number 7 is the number of higher awareness, a wider point of view. Those with life path number 7s tend to be intellectual and analytical thinkers. You likely have a great understanding of spiritual self, and are drawn to the mysteries of the very existence of all that is the universe and everything in it. You are independent and tend to withdraw into your own solitary worlds to contemplate your current projects. Be wary of becoming too narrow-minded and reclusive.
Mm, mm. That's to a T.
Yeah.
I love my alone time. That's that definitely. And then last year, like really doing like the healing that I needed for myself, I've really gotten back to all of this.
Hmm.
This all of everything that you just read, I know for a fact that I've been like unconsciously being that way all of my life, not knowing how to experience it, not knowing how to like the tools or what have you. So it has been like extremely difficult. Um, because like I was depressed a lot and not knowing why. Then I had my daughter when I was 19, and that was just like a spiral, and and I because I couldn't get out of it.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know, or I guess maybe even want to accept that I was depressed. Um, but
You mean
yeah, I'm really
with your daughter raising her? You mean, or
yeah,
during the pregnancy or before or what?
after
Gotcha.
after definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got really bad. It was a lot going on. Um when I graduated, well, actually my junior year of high school, um well, a little background. My mom and my dad were separate from each other like basically all my life. Like my dad was in my life, but they were never together. When I was like maybe like in 8th grade, like they randomly got married because that's how I feel. Like it was super random. Like, hey, we're getting married. What? When did you guys start talking to each other? That's how it was for me. But then like a year after that, my sister passed in a car crash, and that was my sister on my dad's side. So not my mom's daughter, but his daughter with his first wife. And it changed him. And I knew that energetically. And look, now I can say that that feels so freaking good, to like look back and know like, oh shit, I knew all these things when I caught on to all of these things because I just sensed it automatically. But because like that's why me and my dad, our connection was so strong too. I'm like I kick myself for it, but I know everything happens for a reason. But my dad died in 2012, and I just think like, man, if we came on up on this information before he passed away, like my dad would feel like I know that he could get the release that he wanted. That's another
What do
story.
you mean? What
But
do you mean by this information? What do you mean? I don't get it. What do you mean?
okay, so my dad, I definitely would classify him as an empath.
Hmm.
We legit, I spent time with my dad literally not talking, and so not like how we're talking right now. We talked, but it was like we talked energetically, and that meant more to me than anything. Like that was me and my dad's main relationship. And again, like at the time I didn't know what that was, but us just being in one another's presence, it was comforting, and it was um um a sense of oneness for both of us. So it helped us both to be around each other and to know, we had each other basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so when my sister died, I say it changed him because he didn't know. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. He
Okay.
didn't know how to deal with the pain, and like I seen it like start to consume him. And at the time, when they got married, they moved back to Chicago, and I was still in Rockford at the time with my grandma, and I was here, man, like 5 years already, deep in school, got my friends out here, and I didn't want to move, but seeing my dad in that capacity, it was like, hey mom. So I reached out to my mom and I was like, hey mom, I'm gonna just move out there with you guys because I I feel like I want to be closer to my dad because I just feel like he needs it. And so I moved out there, went to high school, starting my sophomore year in Chicago, and my junior year, um, like I said, I've always had my dad in my life. I've never not been able to just depend on him. Like I know that he was just gonna be there. But my junior year, he started to disappear. And it was weird, like weeks at a time. And at first, I didn't think anything of it because he worked weird shifts, like overnight, and times where I just wouldn't see him for a couple of days because of our schedules. But then I was like peeping, like his car wasn't coming, in the driveway, or whatever it was. And at one point, it was like 2 weeks had gone by. And so I'm like, Mom, where the fuck is, where's my daddy at? And she's like, she's just mad and just not even trying to hear. She's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So it's like, okay. I tried to call him, like he wasn't answering, and that was really hard for me to go through because we've never had that kind of relationship, and even me being as old as I was at the time, like it was painful. It was like, well, damn, I thought we were better than that. Like you just literally just dipped on me, and so it put me in a weird place.
You
Then I
ever find
think,
out why that was?
yeah. Uh, so another week had passed, and um, because I was going to call the police that week, and my mom, she just was adamant on not calling them, and I was just like, why wouldn't you call the police? And so that third week, when I came to her and she asked me, or when I asked her, she was like, Tatiana, I don't know where your dad is. I'm not gonna call the police, but I know that he started back using. And like me with this um like un I don't know the word that I'm looking for.
Unprocessed or no?
Like 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 my view of the world at the time, like I had no idea what she was talking about, like using.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Like I had this this fresh brain.
Naivety. Yeah.
Naive. Yeah, definitely. And I'm like, he's using? And she's like, yeah, your dad's, he has been off for a while. He's been sober, but he's back using drugs. And um, oh man, that I had never heard that ever in my life. One, and me and my mom's relationship is still weird. But I just automatically thought that she was lying. And it was like, how dare you, like, lie on his name? It was, I didn't believe it for a second, and I was mad. But at the same time, like once I left the room from her, it was like, well, what else could it be? But we end up filing a missing persons report, and he came back. But my thing with my dad is like I was never able to like, not that he wouldn't have been open to it, but me myself, like I didn't have the confidence to open my mouth and like confront him about it, because it was just like I was just glad that he was back in my presence.
I mean,
So it's like
what would you have said anyway?
exactly.
Nothing you can
But I,
say. You know, there's nothing you can say that's going to
but
change, stop him from doing it. You know.
I I think just I guess acknowledging it, because it was like, oh, you get to come back and not say anything. Like I guess it didn't seem like right to me.
I hear you saying, yeah, yeah,
Like as a parent, you get to do things like that where it does affect your child, and you not have to explain on
yeah,
your own.
yeah. Because you're how old this time?
17.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So I understand. Yeah.
And so it was like I always wanted to give him that room to come and talk to me, but he never did. But like I said, I never had a problem with just moving forward and having that relationship with him, because of how we connected like that. My dad was the closest thing to having another empath in my life. Um, so losing him was really really hard. But after finding out about that, it got really bad with my dad. Um, then I was pregnant my senior no after right after I graduated actually. So I graduated that summer. I was pregnant and I had my daughter the following year when I was 19. And I was already really afraid of like going out into the world, because I know that I didn't have like the tools that I knew that I should have had. And so it was really intimidating, let alone having to take care of another being, and with no support from my mom, because it's very common in every black family. Even if I wasn't pregnant, it was like you're 18, you're on your own, and we all, it's like we all know that. So it's like when 18 creeps up on us, even though we're like glad that we're gonna have this slight freedom, it's like now we know that we're not gonna be getting as much support from our parents, and that's fucked up because it shouldn't be that way. But that's how it was. And at one point, I didn't want to let that stop me, so it was like, okay, I'm still gonna go to school, because at the time I was going to ISU, and I was pursuing dance and computer science. Um, Actually, that's how I found out that I was pregnant. I had just tried out for that dance company, made it, and went to my first classes for the upcoming show, and I passed out. I passed out in class and had to be rushed to the doctor, and that's when I found out. But even going to college, like expenses, trying to figure out loans, how I'm going to stay there, how I'm going to get my daughter there, all of that stuff, like that was stuff that I just had to figure out on my own. And I feel like I've been like that legit even before I graduated high school. And so I think that's why I was still intimidating, because it's like you expected this from me while I was kind of under your household still. And then it was like, all right, go about your business now. Um, but I couldn't do it in school. I couldn't do it because I was depressed and I didn't know that I was depressed. It was it was hard because I didn't have the support. So at that time, my dad was like gone. Like year and year and a half, I hadn't seen him. Then 2 years, not a birthday, nothing. I didn't hear from him. And I think on top of me being depressed, after like having postpartum depression, it was also the situation with my dad. But I dropped out of school and I decided to come back. And I was like, well, I'll just come home and, start over and figure something out. And so when I come back, the house is in foreclosure. And nobody said anything to me about any of this. The house is in foreclosure. My mom has already moved out into her apartment. Like there's literally nothing in the house. And I'm like, did you guys not realize I was coming home from school? And it was like like you literally have to find somewhere to go. My mom had separated from my dad, got her a 2 bedroom, and it was like, well, you can stay here for a month until you get on your feet, but I don't have enough space for you. And I could like I as her child, I felt like I couldn't I didn't have the right to be mad in front of her. Like even though that's what I felt, like it was like, damn. Okay, all right. And it's been like that. Like I feel like all of my life where I've just been put in a situation where I just have to figure it out, and it's hard, but I know that I can do this shit now. It's like I know that I have the strength to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm just talking.
It's okay. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was good, sister. You're
Man,
strong. You've been through a shit ton, and God bless you. You know.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That was good.
crazy.
That was good. Whew. Um. Wow. Um. So you could use a retreat, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like this is like I didn't know how it was manifesting in my brain or what it was, but being in a room like full of full of souls like mine, like what? Yes. Yes, let's do it so we can feed off one another and we can learn, you know what I mean? Like that's exciting as fuck to me. Like what do you do? What can I learn from you? What can we learn from each other? Like that that shit is that's everything to me because now, then when we get together and have moments like that, then we can go back to wherever we live or whatever and spread that.
Hmm.
Like that's how the shit is supposed to happen. Like I I'm so glad that I found like this podcast because it's like I felt um this great purpose, but like you said, it's always been very, very overwhelming, right? To a point where it's like I started questioning myself and like I don't know if this is for me. Even when I was in church, it was like that because I got to a point where I was in church and like um people were reaching out for me to be like a spiritual teacher for the teens, even though I was a teen myself and like trying to like really like be in a leadership role in the church, and I would always draw back from it. And I didn't know why then. I thought that it was just because like I was scared to like give up like earthly stuff, like because in the Bible they tell you like you can't do all this stuff, and I'm like I'm young, I can't. I'm not ready to give, I'm not ready to give up all of this stuff yet. But at the same time, it was like this isn't the right way for me to do this. I like when if something doesn't sit with me completely, I know that I'm not supposed to be doing it, and
Hmm.
so that's how it felt. But
What is it about this podcast that made you feel anything similar, though, in terms of why it might not be for you?
um, because for the space that you have created is universal. it's not biased. It's not coming from a ego-centered mind. It's coming from love. Like,
I agree in the second part, but I'll say at the same time, I do feel that it's not necessary for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not
no, no,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh
yeah,
no,
like,
it's.
yeah. I mean, how can I put it? I don't like, um,
I say universal. What I okay, so I say
universal
universal
truths.
like
Yeah, universal truth. I agree.
yes,
Yeah, exactly. But
yes,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
give you an example here because like this is like because you know when you messaged me on the thing like and I can you know I was like I saw and this is my own like this is my own thing because like this is like my whole like I'm an INFP if you don't know like my Myers Briggs type. I'm not sure if you ever look up your Myers Briggs type by any chance.
I have, but I don't remember what it was. But I'm pretty sure it was a INFJ.
Okay, yeah, you seem like you could be either one. I mean, a lot of life path number sevens are INFPs, but anyway, but INFJs and INFPs are they're pretty similar. But anyway, so like my value system is very strong. So anyway, so when I went, you know, you sent me the message. I checked your Facebook out, and the first thing I saw up there was something like, you know, I am a straight woman, but I just think that you know everybody, whether you're trans or bi or gay or whatever or asexual, whatever, should have equal rights, right? And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I wonder like have you listened to my podcast in terms of like you listened to podcast, but have you listened to any episodes I've had on that in terms of like my thoughts on
Yeah.
what'd you think about that? Because that kind of conflicts with that.
I don't know that I listened to the entire thing.
Yeah.
I know that I feel like there's a situation where I had to cut it off, so I never went back to it, but I remember starting that podcast
Hmm.
because you guys were talking about like I get cuz okay, so for me it's the energy, right? And that's kind of what I guess like I feed off of, and it's
Hmm.
something I'm even like experimenting with myself right now because I've realized like one because I am so sensitive, I've had to abstain from having sex because
Hmm.
I seen that it was creating unhealthy attachments to people that I wasn't actually truly connected to.
Hmm.
Um, so doing that, it it allowed me to oh shit, train of thought lost.
No, it's okay. It allowed you to be able to, I'm assuming, tap back into your own empathic, your own emotional body, basically. What you're trying to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like, but in turn also like revealing different things to me about like what I naturally like, and what like like I draw myself to. And sometimes like okay, I'll just say for instance, like yesterday there was this girl and I'm you're a complete stranger that I'm telling this to and
It's
I
okay.
ain't told nobody but I seen a girl and she's obviously, like dressed in like men's clothes. And at times that bothers me, but there's also times where I come across females that are in this attire and I connect with them. And I wasn't understanding why, but it was something about their energy, you know? It was like, huh, I wonder if I that is how some people think that are in the gay community, that they feel the connection rather than thinking boy girl. Um, but I couldn't see myself with a girl, absolutely not. But the connection, it could be like a spiritual connection, and that's being abstaining from sex has allowed me to know the difference also. So like even with men, like men might come into my life and we might be connected, from A to Z, but that doesn't mean that we're supposed to be together. Like we can be spiritual teachers to one another. We can um, just have this spiritual connection, whatever it may be. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I think that people are so quick to like wanting to like put a label on a connection, especially when it's like the opposite sex,
I hear you.
and
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
it's just not always that way. Is what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm. My thing is, I'm going to speak about like the trans community, for example, right? Because it's LGBTQ, it encompasses a whole lot of different communities. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
thing is that like, for example, like, as a, I feel strange even calling myself a spiritual teacher, but I guess, and I guess I am. You know what I'm saying? Whether I want to embrace it or not.
Yeah.
um,
I get it though, because it's like I deal with
I
like
don't.
being so
I
humble
don't want the
to
ego.
a
I don't want the ego. I
point.
don't want the ego to like rise up and then I lose the spirit. You
Yeah.
remember that? So that's why I'm
Yep.
very try to stay humble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
my thing is that like I understand the importance of having a strong foundation to be able to build from. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
for example, an individual that okay, there's this documentary I saw on RT. I recommend anybody gets it. It's about specifically transsexual men, I think generally, but who well actually well transsexual people that started as male, right? They had obviously their
Hmm.
penises surgically removed, right? Um,
Okay.
and they a lot of them in this documentary, a lot of them, and it's just a lot of them period, but in this documentary, they wanted to reverse it eventually at some later point in their life. You know what I'm saying? And what they had.
Wait, they get it cut. They get it cut off, and then they want it reversed.
Yeah, I know it sounds strange. I know it sounds strange, and it's a hot mess. Trust me, it is. But that's what it is. Um,
Okay.
I'm saying that you're not gonna hear this documentary is on RT. You're not gonna hear anything like this in these gay pride communities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The point is that a lot of these people, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the men in this documentary, and just a lot of men, period. Because I speak to gay men. I've spoken to gay men. I've spoken to gay men on a podcast. I've spoken to bisexual women on our podcast. But the thing is that a lot of these men are molested as children. I'm trying to say some of them are raped as children,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so
Uh huh.
there's an issue with loving themselves, and they are projecting it out in the outer world of not loving their bodies. I'm going to say, and not seeing themselves as something else. I'm going to say as what they're born as. I'm going to say, and so they're trying to change something that's an issue with inside of themselves externally
Mm.
through physical things. No different than you see women all the time. Like little Kim, she did all the crazy cosmetic surgery. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's a psychological
Okay.
issue.
So question. So do you think it's like, okay, so I know you said something like about like some of them deal with being molested.
Not all, but that's a
Um
lot of them do. Yes.
so like speaking on the ones that have and like have decided to go, down the path of, trans and surgery and all of that.
Yeah, injections and all this stuff.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, do you think that they like literally want to change their image thinking that that would like keep away other predators?
No, that's not how they did it. They did it because they didn't like themselves. They didn't like themselves, but they didn't like themselves internally, but they didn't know how to express it that way. You know what I'm trying to say? They didn't acknowledge the trauma of what had happened to them. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, okay. Like, so the shame and the guilt and all
Yeah,
of that
yeah,
just
yeah,
like transformed into that.
yeah, exactly. And so the thing is
Oh,
that
I don't want to say that. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to
it's
say it
okay.
like
It's
that.
okay. But yeah.
But
But anyway, so one of these men was saying this is a transgender man saying this, not me, right? But what he said
uh-huh.
was later on in his life, he realized that he said that somebody who thinks that you can change somebody who thinks that you can change somebody that thinks that you can change gender or change your gender has a hard time accepting truth. Somebody that thinks that you can change your gender has a hard time accepting truth. This is from a transgender man, right? That
You
later
said
on,
it formally.
he's not formally, I guess he still is, but I mean, I'm not sure. And maybe he tried to get up, it's like when you cut your penis off, that's it. There's not, the point, he dresses now like a man, but his voice obviously is still feminine from all the things that he did in terms of the drugs that he took. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the only way I can say is formally. But the point is that, um, with that said, I understood as soon as that those words came out and resonated into my being, that that's the reason why I can never bring someone on into what I'm doing that is into that stuff in that point in their life. You know what I'm trying to say? Because they're
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're not, if you speaking about foundations, if you're not able to accept the truth of what has happened to you in terms of acknowledging painful things, like when we spoke a second ago,
Yeah.
you're speaking about painful things, horrible things, right? If you're not able to acknowledge that, right, and you're suppressing that, and you're taking it out through physical actions, whether that's just being a gay man, and a lot of these people are extremely promiscuous in terms of going from partner to partner to partner. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Trying to
Yeah.
find the father figure that lacked in their lives, et cetera, or the love that they didn't get. You know what I'm trying to say, from other men. You know what I'm trying to say? It's
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
then you're not in a place where you can really be able to begin to delve into the higher spiritual aspects of life, because you're starting with a shaky foundation. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So I,
Because
yeah,
if you, like you say, if you can't accept the truth, it's going to be extremely hard for you to even accept truths about yourself, and if you can't move from there, you can't really move forward with the things
higher,
that
exactly,
you have.
higher, deeper metaphysical truths. So the thing is that
Yeah.
you're going to open yourself in the spiritual realm. When you start getting into this, there's all kinds of things that happen. There's spiritual warfare that happens. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Oh yeah.
if there's
Woo.
anything that can be used against you, you know, anything you
Yeah.
hadn't acknowledged about yourself, if you're not completely, on your square, you know what I'm saying, and
Yep.
aligned with the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you're not aligned with those, then
Mm.
you're going to open yourself up to a demonic attack and demonic possession.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Definitely.
I can't, not just that, but I feel the energy of a lot of these men in terms of they're wanting me as a straight man, because I am very loving and I am very giving. And so they try to draw from
Right.
my
Right.
solar plexus issue. It's a whole heap of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Oh
like,
wow.
that's why I don't have, I'm not against them in terms of them as individuals, but I am against the agenda of pushing this on people, especially children, you know what I'm trying to say, who don't understand the complexity of the issues behind a lot of these flag waving type people. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. Right. Right.
I'd rather them be healed as people rather than them coming together under a flag banner. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
as far as I knew, right? Christ doesn't have a flag. Does Christ have a flag?
No. Right.
Okay, so if Christ doesn't have, because if the rainbow flag is the flag of Christ, then forgive me for saying that. You know what I'm saying? But
No. 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 Yeah.
as far as I knew, Christ doesn't have a flag. So I'm not, my spiritual healing does not encompass. You know what I'm trying to say, that. So
Right.
yep,
No, I totally get what you're saying. Now, I think I didn't think about it in that like aspect before. I think I was like, I'm always like, first thing is like, I'm always emotionally, like that's the first place that I come from. So it's
yes,
like,
the
I don't want to leave any.
sympathy,
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't. I don't want to leave anybody out. Like they need love too,
I
and
hear you. I'm with you.
maybe they
They do
just,
need love,
you
but they
know.
also need truth, right? You can't have love without truth, right?
Yeah, but like I said, I didn't like, I guess, unfold it the way you just did. But
Yeah,
I hear you. I get it.
beautiful. That's gorgeous to hear. That's gorgeous to hear, because what happens a lot of times in these things is that people, again, we are empathic and we're very sympathetic, right? Especially as black people,
Yeah.
no matter what we've been through, and God knows we've had very tough lives as black people, just in general. You know what I'm saying? No matter what.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people are able to suck off our empathy and use our empathy. If how can I put it, there's a sympathetic argument, right? Which is like, oh,
Yeah.
and we just want to love people, and yet, hey, just be yourself. And then there's the moral argument. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times we're sucked into sympathetic arguments in terms of well, for example, I have a cousin who's a lesbian. You know what I'm saying? I love her, right? I love her. So my cousin, I love her. She's sweet. You know what I'm saying? I met her butch girlfriend. I mean, he was a little rough around the edges, but I mean, for whatever it's worth, I could accept her. But yeah, I did feel a certain way. I did feel like, that her son should have a man in his life. You know what I'm saying? I just think that
Yeah.
it's important. I don't think that a butch black woman is going to be able to be the man in a young black man's life in this white supremacist society that he needs.
Oh God.
So,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, so the point is that, yeah, I do love her, but no, I don't, but I don't support the movement. You see the difference?
Right. Because yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying now, because literally it's hindering what we're basically wanting to do.
Yes, it's exactly it. Like we know in the hermetic, I'm obviously an alchemist, and a lot of my work as an alchemist deals with the hermetic philosophy, which is universal law,
Right.
and part one of those universal laws is gender, right? And so there's two poles. We need to master both of those in households. That's why it's important to have both a mother and a father for the child. I mean, you know this. You know what I'm trying
Yes.
to say? It's like
Yes.
it's important, that we have both an X and a Y chromosome. So, you know, uh,
Yep.
that's pretty much it. We need to be nurtured in both of those aspects. But yeah, that was. I'm glad I got that out of the way. I don't like to harp on it too much, but I mean, I wanted to see where you're at because I feel like I'm cautious about bringing people into not just in my life because it's not about me because as empaths sometimes we'll just take on anybody out of compassion to our own detriment. But my thing is that like I
Man.
have
Oh
to
my gosh.
I had to make sure I screen people. You know what I'm trying to say for this
Yeah.
because we need to.
No.
I want to
I
grow. I
get
want to
it.
grow with you. You know what I'm trying to say spiritually.
Yeah.
So good. I
Yeah.
want to make sure your foundation is strong. You know what I'm trying to say, and it seems like it
Yes.
is. So God bless you. And
Oh
yeah,
man.
if you're free, what are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Saturday,
Yeah.
so yeah, tomorrow's gonna be kind of packed. I have a couple of shows tomorrow.
Oh, what does this show look like for you? Tell me what that looks like for you. What do you do?
Oh man, so I have like in this, like I said, this last year of like healing and finding myself, like things have unfolded so rapidly for me. Like I've literally just been catching up, like back to back, like not even just on the healing aspect, because it's like I'll heal from something or I'll acknowledge, something and have that lesson in front of me and then have something play out in my life where like I can clearly see that the universe is like, okay, what kind of choice you gonna make this time? You see, you know, you seen the lesson, so now what you gonna do? And so then when I get cross that hurdle, and then it's like then I get this little jewel or this blessing, like like with my dancing even I wanted to let go of the fear that I had behind it and just put myself out there no matter what that meant, because I don't like doing things, especially initially, like putting it in a box, because it's like for me it that stunts the growth of something that has endless amount of possibilities. So um I started just posting dance videos and taking gigs just for the experience, not even like for paid shows or whatever, and posting them and like even going through with my healing publicly, and it honestly has helped me a lot because it's held me accountable. It's not even just like because I don't really like social media, but I like it to the fact where I can like use it, in a good way. Like that's the only thing that I can really
Yeah,
think
to
of. So
express your
I
to
use
express your
it.
authenticity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a beautiful thing that I think. So I had started my brand, my business page in 2016. Natural Royalty is what it's called, and so I've been posting on there constantly, and so I started getting clients. For the last 3 years, I've been choreographing a carnival themed hair show that's out here. I actually have one coming up next Saturday. So I'm practicing for
A
that
what show? A hair
tomorrow.
show? Did you say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a carnival. You know what
Yeah, yeah, I know
carnival is?
carnival. I'm sorry. I'm a man. So you said a hair show. What is that? Is that a? Did you say?
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
that?
yeah. So a natural hair and beauty show. So
Okay, cool.
so yeah, so it's so my friend is the stylist, and I've known her for a while. So she does hair. She's a cosmetologist. So she does all the models. She does all of our hair. We're in our costumes, and then we have the performance with black-owned businesses as vendors. And this year, I'm actually holding like a free dance class at the event. So yeah, that'll be cool. That's happening next Saturday, like I said. And so I'm tomorrow I'll be practicing for that, and I'll also be practicing for a show or two shows rather. I also do background dancing for a local singer here. So yeah, it honestly I the smallest things, whatever if you can say they're small, whatever. That doesn't even words don't do.
Do justice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can listen as you're speaking about it. Your excitement, I can feel the vibration like vibrating my chest. So I'm like, oh boy, like that. This is something. This is something you're like expressing. You're expressing God's love and God's. You just express exuberance, a certain amount of exuberance through what you're doing that I can feel. I can feel your passion.
yo,
Yeah.
and that's what dance is for me, and
Hmm.
I realized that like this year, and that's why I wanted to start my movement therapy classes, because that's what it's not just dance for me, and I think that's what really allowed me to like just go forth with it, because like at first I think it was like, well, I wasn't technically trained, there are other dancers out there, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not about that. It's not even about that to me, because I'm not at this point where I am now. I'm not worried about what anybody else is doing. I know what I'm doing, and I know that I'm me.
Yeah.
So I can only do what I'm meant to do, and and it means a lot more to me than just steps. This is something that literally fuels me, and it just translates emotions for me, even that I can't explain. So
I
I
get
think
it.
that
I
that's
get
why,
it. I'm
you
with
know what
you.
I mean?
I feel it all. I
Yeah,
feel it all. Yeah. Some things just can't be put into words, and I get it. That's the point.
yeah,
And that's the point.
yeah,
It's an
man.
experience.
I yes, yes. I want, so like I want to go on the, and it's really hard with kids,
Hmm.
but like I want to go a week or so without talking. I want to do that so bad. Just because I feel like when I'm like if I'm at home alone, like I can just sit on the couch. I mean, I don't even have to be meditating or anything, but the fact that I have this silence to like hear like my inner self, and like really like zone in it, like it helps me better understand like the outside world even, and then that vibration, like I feel like that I'm tapping into, then it's like it attracts like those people with those frequencies towards me, and I when it happens I think that it's crazy, but it's like, oh shit, I think I did that. Like I think that I drew you to me, because for me it's like I know I've been kind of yearning to have like whatever kind of relationship it is, whether it be a friendship, spiritual connection, whatever, to have a relationship where like we could almost communicate telepathically. You know, um I do literally yearn for something like that, because in times of like where my emotions are either heightened to a point where I'm trying to come down, or so down that I'm trying to come up, like it'd be amazing to have somebody to just like sense that, you know.
Hmm. I know perfectly.
Like
That's why I'm creating the retreat for empaths, and that's why you're coming.
oh man, it's oh, it's so crazy. It's not crazy. Stop saying that word. Oh man, this
Sis, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Like we could probably talk for like the next 6 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
yeah.
I'm supposed to be getting my hair done. I'm telling my cousin. I said 8 o'clock. I got something to do. So whatever you're doing, we're stopping, and then we'll start back up afterwards.
Gotcha.
Oh god.
So yeah, you're on Facebook. I'm gonna add you to my send you an invite to my Facebook group, or send you a link to it. You can join that, and then I'll send you a link to another link, another private group. I'll add you as friends here in a bit,
Okay,
and
cool.
we'll try to get you in a conference call probably sometime next month, or maybe even we'll see. Well, I'll keep in touch with you. And we'll ask, but August 2nd we should have another conference call here soon. So
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, sis. Yeah. If you know about life coaching, if you're ever interested in that, let me know. I can send you info on that. But for now,
Yeah, please
okay,
do.
yeah, I'll do that, and then we'll talk for the treat. And anything else for me, or before you get off, or
Man, just be blessed,
you too.
because I'm grateful.
All right, sis. I'm grateful for you, and look forward to hearing back from you soon. All right.
Cool.
All right.
Have a good
You
one.
too. Peace.